number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Abia State since the index case in February 2020. In fact, in one single day, which was Tuesday, 19th May, we recorded 25 new cases. The total new cases in the last 1 week is 49. This brings our cumulative total to 183. I'm happy that a total of 36 cases have been successfully cared for and have been given a clean bill of health to rejoin their families. This brings the total number of discharged cases to 97. The cumulative number of discharged patients to date of 97 comes to 53% of our total positive cases, and this is an improvement over the comparative figure of 59 or 44% last week. We are grateful to God that we did not have any mortality this week. This leaves us with a total of 80 active cases that are currently receiving care and treatment at our isolation centers. And considering the demography and location of these confirmed cases, we confirm that community transmission is on the increase in our state.
As touching the lockdown, the governor has this to say.
I have to state that after all considerations, we are constrained to take the painful but necessary decision to continue the eased lockdown of Ogun State for another 1 week till Sunday 31st, May 2020. As we always maintained, the delicate balance between life and livelihood, we will continue to have a window of relaxation from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Monday 25th May 2020, Wednesday 27th May, and Friday 29th May 2020. We must also bear in mind that the daily curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. and the ban on non-essential interstate travel as directed by Mr. President still stands. The current phase of the ease of lockdown will terminate on 31st May. The second phase will commence on 1st of June. This will be accompanied with a further ease of lockdown and expansion of relaxation windows. On the domestic front, many of our people are yet to fully appreciate that their welfare and well-being are their personal responsibilities. Many are still not complying with the precautionary measures and guidelines. The last 1 week, the security agencies apprehended and charged before the mobile courts 224 violators of the lockdown and presidential directive on curfew. Some motorists still carry more than the approved number of passengers, while some still move about in public without the use of face masks. This is the new normal, and we must accept it. It is the compliance that will help us to further ease the lockdown.
He further highlights measures that will help flatten the curve of the virus.
We have modified our protocol in line with NCDC guidelines and will be accrediting some private health facilities in the management of COVID-19. In addition to some designated private healthcare centers, we will be licensing private health facilities in addition to private healthcare centers. In this regard, we have embarked on the renovation and upgrade of some selected PHCs and trained over 200 personnel drawn from the health workers in our PHCs, community development associations, and community leaders. It is noteworthy that the team from the NCDC arrived today to certify our molecular laboratory in Shagamu, which is the first state-owned laboratory in the country. This laboratory should be available for use in the next few days. This will further boost our testing capacity from 450 tests a day to 600 tests per day. Some people still flagrantly flout the presidential ban on interstate travel for non-essential services and the daily night curfew. As an example, 4 people from Kutangora, Niger State, were intercepted right in front of the governor's office here in Abeokuta on Monday this week. This is very worrisome, because one wonders, how did they beat all the security barricades along the state borders within the states they passed on before getting to Abia State? Whilst we are battling internal migration, the immigrants from outside the country through our international land borders have also not given up, despite the closure of international borders. 19 nationals from Togo and Ivory Coast were intercepted after crossing into Ogun, Nigeria, through illegal land borders on Wednesday.
Not wearing of face masks is still a crime in the state, and residents are warned to take their personal hygiene seriously while cooperating with the government in the fight against coronavirus. Tunde Olaniro, OGTV News.
The current administration in the state will be working with communities and corporate organizations towards ensuring that members of staff of those organizations are tested to prevent spread of the COVID-19 ahead of reopening. The governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, made this known while addressing the press on the COVID-19 pandemic in the state.
It is also hoped that through the buy-in of the community leaders, reports of compliance with laid down measures and suspected symptoms will be appropriately forwarded. Our engagement includes the business community. We will issue guidelines for the operations in the state to ensure safe work environment for their personnel in preparation for full business operations. A key element of the guidelines will require industries with large personnel to carry out COVID-19 tests on their staff to avoid community transmission. I'm delighted to note that some have already commenced testing, and it is expected that others will also comply. We have adopted the See and Treat protocol, which commences the immediate treatment of anybody who presents with symptoms, even as the sample is taken for testing and results are awaited. As you are aware, there is no cure for this virus. Only the symptoms are managed. The See and Treat protocol is practical and prevents or should prevent the symptoms from worsening.
He urged the people of the state to eat food that will boost their immune system.
To boost their immune system by ensuring regular intake of good food and vegetables that are rich sources of natural vitamins such as vitamin C, garlic, and ginger. Through this, though these are not cures for the virus, but are known to be helpful in boosting the immune system. I'm not unaware of the great discomfort, inconveniences, and even deprivations the lockdown, even with the ease and windows of relaxation, has foisted on all of us. But the measures to combat COVID-19, as unpleasant as they are the price we all need to pay to stay alive beyond this period. These trials shall pass. The unpleasant truth is that only those who are alive can pursue their dreams or economic activities. Therefore, I wish to enjoin all citizens and residents of Ogun State to observe all the announced measures so that together we can prevent the continued transmission of COVID-19 and flatten the curve in Ogun State and by extension the whole country.
Prince Dapo Abiodun congratulates all Muslims on the conclusion of the Ramadan fast, urging them to comply and observe the Eid prayers at home.
Over the effect of the pandemic, we therefore align with the position of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, whose Secretary General, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, is a proud son of our dear state and enjoins the Muslim faithful of our dear state to comply with the Council directive and offer Eid prayers at home.
He appreciates all essential workers in the state for their sacrifices and resilience. And still on health, electronic patient record, an initiative to enhance appropriate treatment of the sick, will be introduced to make primary health care more accessible and affordable for the people of Ogun State. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Kuka, stated this during a visit to the primary health centers in Nodeda, Obafemi Wode, and Abeokuta North local government areas. Yusuf Ganiyo reports.
Nigeria is one of the largest countries in Africa, with about 52.2% of the country's population living in rural areas where poverty is more predominant, thus limiting access to adequate nutrition, quality health care, and other basic social services. Primary health care is a grassroots management approach to providing healthcare services to any community. Out of the 20 primary healthcare centers shortlisted for renovation, the monitoring team of the State Ministry of Health, led by its commissioner, Dr. Tomi Kuka, has visited 15 centers so far.
Progress of the work is very fast, and as you can see, we have a distinctive yellow roof, which you can all see. But the consistent thing is that I can see that the staff are committed to the community, and obviously the trend is that there's shortage of staff, the security issues, and the need to equip the PHCs, which is what His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun is committed to doing. I believe what we would like to be remembered for is that he changed the face of primary health care in Ogun State to an international level.
Aside from the renovation of the centers, what other initiative is the state government looking into for effective service delivery?
To introduce electronic patient records, which means if anybody actually registers here in Oshiele, they can, if they do turn up in Obademola down the road or in Ijaye, we can easily track their records and know what their experience has been here. It makes the job of the doctor and the nurses looking after them easy, and we can sort of collaborate all the previous history to give the appropriate treatment. So that's one of the things that we want to do.
The Executive Secretary, Primary Healthcare Board, Dr. Elijah Ogunshola, says the health indices under the leadership of Mr. Abiodun is taking shape, especially the primary health care.
His Excellency has graciously ensured commodities and equipment will follow the renovation. So it's not good doing the physical structures alone. It's also ensuring state-of-the-art equipment are added to this center. I also want to use this medium to tell our mothers that primary health care services, including immunization, family planning, are here.
Health officers and leaders of the local government visited also reflect on the initiative.
So the good people of Odera are very pleased by the work the state government is doing here, because they've changed the face of the health center. The people within this community will be able to enjoy good health care.
I appreciate the government for the tremendous work that is really going on. It has really changed what it used to be in the past 2, 3, 4 years.
The inspection exercise continues. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
COVID-19 cases in Nigeria has risen to 7,261 after the nation recorded 245 new cases. According to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, of the 245 new cases, 131 were recorded in Lagos. Jigawa had 13, Ogun 13, Borno 12, Kaduna 9, and Oyo also 9. Other states with new cases include Rivers and Ebonyi with 9 each, Kano 8, Kwara 7, Katsina 5, Akwa Ibom 3, the same as Sokoto, which also has 3. Bauchi and Yobe had 2 each, while Anambra, Gombe, Plateau, Bayelsa, and FCT all had 1 case each. Total cases of COVID-19 now in Nigeria, 761. 207 cases have so far been treated and discharged, while 221 deaths of coronavirus was recorded. Nigeria has been under one form of lockdown or the other since March as federal and state governments strive to curb the spread of the pandemic. Oyo State has recorded 9 more cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infections in the state to 199. According to the latest figures released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control on Friday night, the 9 cases in Oyo were among the new 245 recorded in 22 states. Governor Seyi Makinde has reassured the people of the state that the state's COVID-19 task force was doing everything to contain the spread of the virus, given the recent increase in numbers. Makinde, who is the chairman of the task force, in a tweet noted that majority of the COVID-19 cases in the state had relatively mild or no symptoms. And from Lagos State, the governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has said that the state government is trying to get the presidential task force on COVID-19 to allow flights from Lagos to Abuja operate following the increasing impact of the closure of the airports on the state economy. The governor lamented that the aviation industry, as well as the entertainment, hospitality, and transportation sectors, had been significantly affected by the pandemic. The federal government on March 23 shut all international airports in the country before it later extended the closure to all airports in the country, banning all local and international flights. The governor said in terms of direct economy, entertainment, industry, hospitality, transportation business, and the aviation sector are badly affected. Benue State government on Saturday made a U-turn on its decision to reopen worship centers, markets, and other public places. Governor Samuel Otom had on Thursday lifted the ban on churches and mosques and directed that they should reopen for staggered worship, while also ordering that markets be fully reopened. However, while briefing journalists at the Government House in Makurdi, the state capital, Autumn redirected the closure of worship centers, adducing its new directive to the advice of the federal government and that of religious bodies against the reopening of worship centers and other public places. He said, as a component part of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the state appreciates the fact that the federal government is the custodian of Nigerian Center for Disease Control, and they are informed about what is going on, and so they must subject themselves to the decisions in accordance with the laws of the land. Stakeholders in the development agenda of Nigeria have been enjoined to intensify efforts at checking the high rates of vandalization of public utilities in the country. This was the view of people who spoke with OGTV News while responding to the menace of vandalization to government utilities spread across the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Peter Falomo has the details.
Overall development of any nation is seen as part of good governance of leadership anywhere the world over. Such national development includes the improvements of the social welfare of the citizenry in the provision of amenities in terms of quality education, potable water, infrastructure, provision of health care delivery, among others. According to those who spoke with OGTV News, a nation begins to experience backwardness when individual or group of vandals decide to venture in destroying utilities of such country.
There are instances where during civil protests and every other thing, you see people destroying public properties, the lights or railings and all the rest. Then what do you make of it? This is supposed to be your property indirectly. The moment you do that, then you have completely destroyed whatever belongs to you.
Respondents speak on some of the factors that are responsible for such acts, particularly in Nigeria.
Many factors are responsible, especially from these people vandalizing. One, poverty. There is unemployment. Apart from the poverty we are talking about, some people believe that this is a way of making quick money. And then the flourishing of black market. Because when they vandalize these things, they go to sell them. The people buying it from them, they want to get rich quick. So attitude to wealth, attitude to people's way of looking at government property that is nobody's property.
Invariably, those property being vandalized belong to the member of the public. But the problem is that lack of patriotism in the part of the citizens that leads to vandalization of government or private properties.
And it will surely affect the pace of development generally. Whatever interest that thing is supposed to serve, the moment you destroy it, you are drawing back the hands of the clock. That means the government have to go an extra mile to produce or provide extra facilities to cover the needed purposes.
They also analyze how best to checkmate the act of vandalism in the country and save the nation from insecurity.
There must be security, more sensitization of the people, telling them that government property is for everybody and it is for your own good. It is for you to live a better life. So they need to know.
They should de-emphasize on spending more money during the election that will give them the opportunity to occupy the position of authority. Because when you have spent a lot of money to get to that position, the tendency that when you get there, the first thing you need to do is to recoup that money back.
They added that the leadership of Nigeria need to put up drastic measures to ensure that the nefarious activities of the vandals are nipped in the bud in order to move the country to greater heights. Peter Falomo, OGTV News.
As part of the renewed offensive to rid the northwest of the country of armed bandits and other criminal elements, the air component of Operation Adarin Daji has decimated several camps and neutralized no fewer than 135 armed bandits in massive air raids executed at several locations in Katsina and Zamfara states. The airstrikes were undertaken sequel to credible human intelligence reports, as well as series of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions that led to the identification of Camps 1 and 2 and Doya in Jibia and Dumosa local government areas of Castina, as well as Azan Tagwaye's camp, Alaji Autos camp in Maikomo in Brainy Magaji and Zumi local government areas of Zamfara State. The air interdiction missions were painstakingly undertaken by the air component as it dispatched its attack aircraft to the locations in multiple bombing runs, some of which were executed simultaneously. The chief of the air staff commends the air components of Operation Adarin Daji for their professionalism and direct them to remain resolute in order to achieve the directives of the Chief of Defense Staff to restore normalcy to all parts of Nigeria. Thousands of people in Spain are protesting against the government handling of the coronavirus outbreak. The far-right party urged supporters to drive through major cities without leaving their vehicles in order to maintain social distancing. Protesters in the capital, Madrid, driving convoy and waved Spanish flags as they called for Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez to resign. Spain imposed some of the tightest restrictions in Europe on 14th March. It has eased restrictions in recent weeks, but Madrid and Barcelona have remained under tight lockdown due to the more severe outbreaks of COVID-19. Both cities will begin to relax their curbs from Monday by allowing outdoor dining and gatherings up to 10 people. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced on Saturday that La Liga can resume from its coronavirus lockdown on June 8. The resumption of major professional sporting competitions and in particular La Liga will be allowed from the week of June 8, Sanchez told a press conference. More than 2 months after the COVID-19 pandemic halted the season in Spain, players have begun training in small groups as they aim to be as ready as possible for the planned reboot next month. We now serve you with the forecast for Sunday. Do have a lovely day. And just before we go to the news, remember, if it does not challenge you, it does not change you. And you can now watch us live on these platforms: Apple, Roku, Windows, BlackBerry, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch live on OGTV website, www.ogtv.com.ng. And that was the news. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.